attending this program. And this program is not a very complicated one. This is simple, combining simple common senses with powerful technicals and fundamental tools, and a strong man, a person with stable mind and a good health, he is going to trade. This is what the is with established psychological principles. It is easy to understand greater complexity of trading and to become a master trader. This is what we do in the Zen program. A brief about that. We have today Mr. Nikhil Sohoni is a group treasurer. So Nikhil is there? Not yet. Not yet. Okay. So Nikhil Sohoni is the group treasurer and group finance senior vice president at Mahindra and Mahindra. He is a chartered accountant and a Fullbright Fellow of Carnegi Mellon. Completed training at IMD and Yale. Yeah, Nikhil, welcome. Nikhil is there?
Yeah, I just joined in. Yeah.
Okay, I was just introducing you. I was almost completing that.
Yeah.
Nikhil is having good experience, expertise, wisdom, and a very prudent and very successful treasurer of our time. And he's still young. He has a bright career perspective in M&M. We are looking forward to him to become CFO, maybe Director of Finance in the M&M. And more than that, he has a passion about the financial market development. So Zen is not a very big program. So we last time also is came inauguration. Last minute I called Nikhil, you have to help me, and Nikhil is there. And like that, Professor Anant Narayan, he is a professor in SP Jain College. He was earlier head of Corporate Treasury, and Yashwant Rao, Kagarajan, Rajgopal, and many guest faculties of expertise and experience. They all support this program. That is why this program we could do it. So it's a program with people all having passion, to contributing, coming forward to contribute, and being a senior official of M&M, he has a passion and he's agreed. And I would like to, it's a pleasure to listen to him. He comes, he gives various experience, and M&M is a very cautious and high priorities given for risk management and cash flow protection. So they don't trade. I have a reason not to be happy with Nikhil, but they don't trade. But they are known for their risk management skills, and I don't have to talk about M&M. Okay, over to Nikhil to inaugurate the sixth.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Bijur, and thank you very much for those generous words. Good evening, everyone on the call. It's a pleasure to be here at the Almus invitation over here for opening of this program. It's always been a different relation with Almus, and therefore Mr. Bijur, when you said I can never say no, because with Maulik, he's a friend more than anything else, and all of you have been kind of there for us also whenever we wanted. So I think it's very important in that sense. Having said that, let me tell you, yes, when I was invited to say that you will talk at a trading session, I said, I am Mahindra and Mahindra. We don't trade. So how am I going to talk at a trading session? So probably the only perspective that I can give is that, whether we trade or we don't trade, what we definitely do is that there is detailed study, which is definitely there. There is data basis which decisions are taken. And let me just tell you, I was interestingly, when we were doing our hedging, one thing which we looked at was how the rupee has been performing, say, in last 3 years. And you would be surprised, anyone to just see that in 2021, if you have seen, rupee has appreciated for 124 days, depreciated for 136 days out of 260 market days which were there. If you go a year earlier, it had appreciated for 124 days. It had depreciated for 137 days. 261 days were the market days. One more year earlier, it had appreciated for 127 days and depreciated for 134 days. So every year, rupee is giving opportunity by moving either ways. For last 3 years, if you see, on we looked at it on H1 and H2 basis. In H1, the spread between the high and the low was more than 2.5 rupees. Then H2 again, the spread between high and the low was more than 2.5 rupees. 18 days for last 2 years, that is around 21, 19 and 20. For 18 days, rupee moved more than 50 paisa in one day, out of which 9 days was depreciation, 9 days was appreciation, and equal for 2 years. So I'm just saying this volatility is what the market gives, and that is what I think as a trader, it would be kind of a very good thing to look at. And if you're doing this basis data and doing this basis understanding, I think there is a lot that for you to learn when you look at this session to say, how do you take advantage to add value looking at this. For us, we don't trade as we say, but definitely we look at it in a way to say, how do I add value for my company? When we look at this data, there are certain tweaks which we have to do to our policies as the times change. We can't work with the policies which were there 20 years back, because at that time rupee moved by maybe 1 rupee in a month. Today it moves by more than 3 rupees in a day also. That's the kind of times we are living in today. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, and with interest rates what's happening because of COVID, because of uncertainty. Just before coming into this meeting, I was with someone. The decision that was coming out was, don't take any calls beyond 1 quarter. Every quarter you will have to be agile. You have to see how things are developing and then take decisions for that quarter. That doesn't mean that we will not be hedging long term. We will have to hedge long term, but we'll have to hedge long term keeping this factor in mind. So how do we kind of quickly move and reverse the decisions or change the decisions in a way that they don't impact adversely? We look at commodities also. So commodities is the other area which you would have seen that the way the commodities have behaved last year, how volatility has been there. And it went all the way up, creating new highs. And when those things happen, see, the point is that there is a lot of herd mentality. The key thing is how not to panic. And that's one thing which I have learned over the years, how not to panic and how not to kind of get into that herd mentality to say that let me also do because others are doing. I think that's where we have to keep a cool head, keep a balanced approach, not take any one-sided moves, don't go on to any extremes, because those kind of situations, while they seem good at times, can really hit you in a very, very bad way in other times. So you have to you need not be the best, but you have to be good. It's better to be good and consistently good rather than being the best, because that best can kind of lead you to something, some decisions which may not be right at times. So I'll just say that that's the way we have looked at treasury, whether it's on the interest side, whether it's on the FX side, whether it's on the cash side. The point is, everywhere we just go by data, we analyze the data, we look at the data, we take our calls basis that, and we ensure that it's safety first for us, because we are not traders. We are here to protect the value of the company. We are here to protect the cash for the company and to ensure that we make profits for the company. So that's the way we do our business. But as I said, the current times that we are, there is ample opportunity to do trading. There is ample opportunity to do a very intelligent trading. And when you have good professors teaching you today and during this course, when you have people who are experts, I think, talking to you, nothing more you can ask for than to say that at the end of the session, I'm sure you will come out absolutely well trained in to handle this situation, the current markets, and all the best for that. Anything else that you want to hear from me, I'm happy to provide from the company side as to how M&M looks at things beyond what I've already said.
Okay, the floor is open. All ask some questions. See, what I understand from him, I'm happy that they moved from cost-centered treasury approach to value-add treasury. I have heard Nikhil talking about value addition. So it's required when market gives opportunity, and what it clearly said that they first is perfectly about safety of the business, second about the cash flow management. Then there are opportunities to add value and they are not demonstrated. So market provides opportunity. And one more thing what I liked is, see, we are traders, spot. I most of the time I spend in spot trading. Spot trading, we don't analysis MIS or anything. Uska important kya hai? We are not that much keen on that. But when now I have been handling the corporate risk management from 18 to 19 years. Now what Nikhil said matters. The MIS gives a lot of inputs to take decisions. So things that Anand said this 5 years back. In Indian corporates don't manage their hedges. So it's very critical to manage your hedges. So hedges gives you a lot of inputs. Nikhil, if you watch your hedges, when it is highest M2M profit, that is the way that from there it most likely is going to jump. In case of dollar rupee, if you are an exporter, you are running with a very good M2M. Now we started adding how to manage the M2M, how to take value addition of the M2M. So simple thing at 73 or 74, would you like to hedge 80, 75 or 80% of your exports? If the answer is no, reduce it. If the answer is yes, then increase it. So many things, many techniques, options, so many things are coming, and Mahindra is open to utilize that opportunity. So you take and as Nikhil said, we have Yashwant Rao, over 40 years of experience, working with Indian Overseas Bank, then moving to Aravind Mill Treasury, then to Reliance, then now he is with Almas from last 10 years. He's on advisory board. He's an advisory board of NSE. Vast experience. Even today he spends 2 hours at 6 o'clock, 6:30. His reports are ready. Very valuable reports. People pay for the reports and buy the reports. And we have Tyagarajan, worked in Syndicate Bank, then he moved to Reliance. Very aggressive trader. Okay, other extreme. Okay, M&M is a very cost center approach treasury, and Reliance has been the profit center treasury from long time. So we have a combination of people like Nikhil, people like Rao and Anantna, and then Tyagarajan. So you can gain from all that. So I will not speak much. Any questions? There are colleagues from Union Bank, Ratnakar Bank, and other people who have come. You can ask some questions to Nikhil. He will answer the question. You can put it in chat or we'll unmute you. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Hi, sir. This is Shiva. So I just wanted to ask that when you are planning your hedging your receivables or payables in M&M, how much role does the fundamental analysis and how much role does technical analysis play in your decision making? So do you look at the macro, the economic environment more, or do you look at the charts more? That how's the where's the double top, where's the bottom, candlestick charts, and also how much role is the fundamental analysis playing and how much technical analysis in your decision?
I will say that we do a lot of fundamental analysis. So see, what you have to also understand is therefore I started with saying that we don't trade. When you look at it from the corporate side, see, let me tell you how hedging works. Now, when I am doing an export or when I am doing some hedging for my imports, now why do I hedge my imports? When this import is done, the imports go into my product and the pricing of the product is done basis a particular assumption on the imported price. Now, my primary purpose is to protect that. So whatever your technicals may say or whatever your fundamentals may say, if I'm protecting the right price, which will not impact my pricing, that's my first job. So I have to go and protect it. So that I will go out and hedge when I know that including premiums, my rate that I'm getting is far better than what I have used for my pricing, because then that gives me that much more buffer or that much more space when I'm going to the competition, and I can do some discounts or whatever if I want in the pricing, if any imported material has gone into it. So those are the things also which drive our hedging decision. It's not only technicals or fundamentals, but we do a lot of fundamental study. Technicals, let me tell you, we rely on banks. We do have one or two economists and one or two people internally who kind of participate in the decision. But we also keep speaking to the banks and take it from them. It's more fundamental and more pricing which decides from our side. Is that clear? Hello?
Mr. Shiva? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am Rao here.
Yeah.
Sir, when you do the hedging only, normally, most of the people, some of the corporates, the day they conclude the contracts or the day exposures take place, will you do the same day, or if you are expecting supposing you have concluded an export contract and you look at the market and you say dollar is on the upper side and you wait for the period, or some of the amount or 60-70% you cover it, or you cover 100%? What is your this one? When it is hedging, no, there are two things: whether you hedge it the day exposure takes place, or wait for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Still more.
Yeah.
Because
So let me
sometimes
give you.
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Go ahead.
No. That's a main thing. It is like when I was in the bank, I have seen. I used to deal with the Hindustan. This one, that time, the importer, no, when they have imported, the DGM of the company asked me, Mr. Rao, you book my for the maturity. I said, it is expected to come down. He said, as you said, no, he said, I am a manufacturer. I need to know my costing. Whatever it is, whether it is I also know, if you ask me personally, I will ask the company to wait, but I cannot do. My internal procedure is I need to crystallize my cost of the imports. Otherwise, I don't know where I land, because I need to do so much costing at every place. So the day bills come, the day they know what is the due date, they cover it for the day. Whatever be the rate, it is this one. Sometimes, okay, that is as you said, imports you need to protect. At the same time, sometimes exports where you have some margins. You said now it is a 75-30, it is this one, even my costing is a 75. I see the markets to go up to 76. Whether you wait for it or you cover some portion here, it is there. Both are hedging only. I am not talking about the trading. How you normally do it, it is this one.
Yeah. So see, we are actually in an unenviable position. We have someone who is praying for rupee appreciation, someone who is paying for rupee depreciation, both in the same company. So my export side will want rupee to depreciate, my importer purchaser will want rupee to appreciate. So and they look at us to manage both. So we have to manage from both the sides. So that's why those calls are taken. But what drives is in the exports, we don't start only when we have a firm exposure. Even basis anticipated exposure, we start hedging, because times will be good at times. Like if you were to just ask me in the current year, while rupee highest would have touched probably what 76.3 or 76.35 was the highest, I think, in the last financial year. Yeah, but we also had hedges which went up to 78.5 or 79, which were taken last year. So that's the call which we take. So when we do hedging for exports, we start basis anticipated exposure, where we know that because there will be, you may or may not have a firm contract, but you know that you have been operating in US for last 20 years, and what are the minimum sales that you're going to achieve. So that's the kind of thing that when rupee gives those opportunities, we go out and hedge. And when we know that if we are fairly confident that this is something which it's hard in the market to reach, like we may be having a few hedges for next year at maybe even 80.5 or 81, but then that's not probably the rate rupee may touch also. So that's the kind of calls, but of course we don't do everything. So the idea is to do in a layered manner. What we do is that we do in phases. So that, as I said, no extreme situations. We don't say that if my total estimated exposure is 200 million, go out and do 150 million today only because you are getting 78. No, we don't do that. So we will do 10%, 10%, 10%, and we will try to capture all levels. Therefore, I said we may not get the best, but we will ensure that we get the good. We ensure that we are at a level where we don't lose out when we look back. That's the call which we take. On the import side, it drives the pricing more. On the import side, because it is very, very critical that the pricing in the domestic market, particularly when it is in the domestic market, you don't have the leverage to play with the price. So if our pricing assumes a particular level, then it's like when you hit that contract, just go out and close it out. When we borrow, we don't take calls on the borrowing, because the borrowing, the point is that what is my today equivalent cost if I have to borrow in the rupee market? If my equivalent cost in the rupee market is say 6.5% and the fully hedged cost comes to 6.4%, go out, hedge it, close it. Because there I don't want to take the risk where that 6.4 becomes 6.8, because then I had lost an opportunity to borrow at 6.5. So in borrowing, it's a clear evaluation where we say that on the day of the borrowing, look at whatever is the benchmark rate in rupee. If your hedge cost is below that, go out and hedge it. Or otherwise go out and do rupee borrowing if your hedge cost is more than rupee cost, and if you have a space in rupee. So that's the way we take a call. We don't treat exports as a natural hedge. Okay, we don't believe in treating exports as a natural hedge, because again, when I treat exports as my natural hedge, one thing which we miss out is the fact that on those exports I could have anyway got premium. And if I'm using those exports as my natural hedge to support a dollar borrowing, which is on a hedged basis costlier than a rupee borrowing, I'm not adding value to the company, because I have given up on the premium on the exports. I could have borrowed lower in the rupee market. So that's the way we have to take a call. So on the corporate side, when you manage a treasury, it's slightly different. Therefore, I said it's not trading. It's looking at all of these angles and then taking a decision.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
But sir, in post-shipment credits, we are doing a natural hedge, because today I am discounting my bills for a forward cover for a forward period of 60 days or 90 days. Then that is a inbuilt natural hedge in post-shipment bills.
When you do that, see what is the, if you, one point is that, are you requiring this borrowing which you are doing for financing your thing, or are you doing it as for investing? First thing, I'm just asking.
This is financing the receivables.
So if you are doing it for financing the receivable, one, you have no choice. Okay, so then in that case, you have to go out and hedge and close it, as I said.
Yeah.
But when companies are in a surplus position, which companies like M&M do, then I will only do a borrowing if there is an arbitrage available. Because otherwise, why do I have a cost when my surplus fund is yielding me 3% or 4%?
Yeah.
But when you are doing it as a financing activity, you have to do it as a financing activity, and that time you have to go out and hedge it, because then only you will have a definite cost. See, there is a classic thing, while these are the things which come up many a times, even in our smaller group companies, where someone says that we borrow at 2%. It's only 2% and it's beneficial for me. I have exports. But then we had shown them the working where, yes, you had exports and therefore you did it. But there were times when these 2% actually worked out, when you actually paid, the rupee had depreciated by that time, and the rupee cost, borrowing cost, was as high as 9.5 to 10%, which gets ignored because you're using an export as a natural hedge.
Yeah, why we tell it as natural hedge? Because those borrowings are offset by my import obligations. Because I'm a net export earner, net foreign currency earner, because my exports is higher than my imports. So while I am making my import payments, I am not getting hit on account of dollar rupee.
That natural hedge is fine. That natural, I'm not objecting to that natural hedge. If you are an exporter and importer, you should do net hedging.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about a natural hedge where a borrowing and exports. So you are borrowing in the market and you justify the borrowing basis a natural hedge of an export.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
That is not right. Import and export of material, if you are saying that that you are doing as a natural hedge, that's perfectly, you have to do that. If not, you are exposing yourself on both the sides.
Yes, yes.
You can do that as an active treasury management. Okay, if you are doing an active treasury management, you can do that. As I told you that what I started with, if rupee has appreciated on 124 days and depreciated 136 days, and you had 50 paisa movement either ways or for 18 days, then you have opportunities on both sides. But then you need to have a profit center treasury over there. You need to manage that in a way that profit or loss stays at treasury level and you don't penalize the business for that.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Just to add what I learned of late, to try to quote Peter Drucker, what is not measured, it is not managed. Okay. So measurement, what Nikhil said is what they give lot of importance to MIS. Whatever they are doing in trading activities or buying or selling, what is the impact of cash flow on that? It is not need not be a trading profit, but it's a cost to the company or whether interest rate or exchange rate. That is their very focus. So that will give continuously, that's what he said, they are enjoying the benefit of it. So, but you have to have a very good system to measure what is the risk and how you manage it. If you don't measure it, then you can't manage. That is very simple. So thanks, Nikhil, for this.
No, I agreed. I just said agreed, Mr. Bijur. That's the right point.
Yes.
You need to have a very strong MIS. You need to have a strong data, as I said, I started with also, because the entire decision making is based on that.
Yes, and the data itself gives so many things. Sometimes the data shows that looking at the overall forward contracts, outstanding forward contracts. So how importers are not covered, it shows that from the year rupee going to move. Okay, chart shows that, and simple common sense approach, it shows that. See, ultimately, why people don't want to buy forward dollar where you have to pay premiums? Why people are okay to sell forward? It's very simple psychology, human psychology. 75 rupees is there today, 3 rupees premium, 78 looks very good today to sell, and you are getting something, so okay to sell. When you are paying, it pinches you. You don't do. That is the human psychology. So that's why importers don't hedge. But market doesn't work like that. Thanks, Nikhil, for that. You are sharing and taking some questions over this speech. Thank you very much for that. And we will shift to the next session now.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Pleasure being here, and all the best for you all.
Thanks, Nikhil, again.
Thank you, Nikhilji.
Thank you. Yeah.
The next session is Psyching Yourself for a Winning Career. We have with us Ekta, Venugopal Dharmarajan, and Atita Shetty. Ekta is by qualification, she has done a master's in psychology. Then afterwards, she has done various courses abroad on upgrading the business coaching and psychology. And also she coaches business coaching as well as counseling she does. She is our associate. And Venugopal Dharmarajan is he has been a trainer from a long stint of around more than 25 years. He trained over 25,000 people. He worked he had an experience in landmark worldwide education as a transformation coach, and he himself is one of the coach in this program, and he was a coach at Almas also. And then we have Atita Shetty. Atita Shetty is by qualification, she is an engineer. She has done her architect at Treasury College. Then she has gone to US and done her master's, and she's a practicing architect in Mumbai. And in addition to that, she has a passion for coaching, and she has been coaching for the last 10 years. She coached me also in landmark worldwide transformation education. With this, now over to Ekta and your team to talk about psyching yourself for a winning career. It's a very interesting session. Participate and listen carefully. If you do not understand, stop them and ask questions.
So very warm welcome to all the participants. You all have taken a very brave decision of being on this program, and I really, really wholeheartedly welcome you. And I hope that each one of you can make the most of it. Today, of course, this session is going to be on mindset coaching and why it's so important. Today, most of you have your videos off, which is okay. But as the sessions progress, it's important for us to know you personally. And it would be great if you can have your videos on, when we start like more sessions from next week, so that you can have a more intimate relationship with your coach and we can understand you more better, right? So I will be taking up, a bit to start off with before, of course, my colleagues Venu and Atita will then join me, and, we'll be elaborating on the core concepts that we are trying to explain to you in the session today. So as we look at, how to really psych up yourself for a winning career, how do you really get to that space where you really understand that what do I really need to do to be there, to really have a successful career and have a mindset of a successful trader. Definitely, there are some things that you will have to kind of learn, unlearn, change, and we are here to support you. We are here to help you to that space. We'll be facilitating the process for you. We can't enable you, but yes, we will be here to make sure that you have all the tools to get where you really wish to be. So to start off with, we are looking at self-mastery, because before you can even master your trades or become mastering the trade will first step require you to have a fair amount of self-mastery. And what is self-mastery? What is this space of, what you want to do with your life? Now, what happens is you really have to go back to a lot of your own social conditioning, your own self-limiting beliefs, and then, of course, the power of habits. We will be, of course, dealing with this at a very, very intricate level. But I would really like to start by citing a very personal example. Okay, this was with a client of mine. That client is from the UK. And during our sessions, he happened to confide in me. And he said that, Ekta, you know what, he's at a very top-notch position as an engineer, aeronautical engineer, working with the railways. And he was very happy, but he said that, Ekta, you know what, I'm not able to forgive myself because he's a very good cricketer and as well as a very good music player. So he says that these were my passions in life, and I'm making money, but I'm not living my passion, and I can never forgive myself. So every weekend, how life abroad is. So Monday to Friday he works. Weekends he's either playing cricket or he's at his concerts. And of course that takes a toll on his personal life because there is no personal life left. And he was not able to really forgive himself for doing that. So I was just kind of introspecting, and we were discussing, and I asked, why did you never pursue this, right? You definitely had a passion for this, and you could have made it big. You could have been a cricketer, you could have been a music player and had made it really big in your life. What stopped you? And this is where it came down to, power of habits. He said, Ekta, it was something I did on the weekends. I did it when I was free. I did it when jab time mila tab kiya, and that can make a real difference in how you are going to show up even in your career. So if, say, for example, trading is just something that is a side hustle in your life, then you will not get the results. And then we were discussing, and I asked him, okay, who's your favorite cricketer? Who's your role model if you had to speak? Or even your favorite, music player? He says, my Guruji or Sachin Tendulkar. And I said, what do? They practice it every single day. He said, I've seen the biography of Sachin, and he used to go and play at Shivaji Park every single day, whatever happened, right? So the idea is that how powerful are your habits? Are you ready to master your own self? Are you ready to put yourself out there and do whatever it takes, whatever the coach says? He puts that 1 rupee coin on that 3 stumps and says, jab wo, nahi hit hoga, you will get it. And he used to play for hours just to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, are you ready to create that space? Because if this is going to remain a hustle in your life, like, side hobby, ke theek hai, man kiya, no. If this is something that really means a lot to you, it means you will have to shift a lot of habits. You will have to shift this whole focus from, I do it when I like it, to really this means a lot to me, and show up. Of course, that also means that you will have to introspect that what is affecting, what are my beliefs which are not letting me get there? What is stopping me from actually getting there? And then we are looking at breaking those patterns. We are looking at creating new space so that you can show up in a way which you really want to. So if your goals and your actions are aligned, you can get the results. But if they are not in alignment, if your goals are something, but your actions are not in alignment with what you ultimately want for yourself, you will seriously not get the results you want. It has also got to do with your own core beliefs, that do you really believe this is possible for you? It's possible for every single one of us. Let's be honest. It's totally possible for each one of us. But are you ready to go the distance? Are you ready to do everything that it takes without batting an eyelid or without making excuses for it? And if you are, then really self-mastery is possible, because then you're ready to take responsibility for your life decisions, choices, actions. And when you start working from that space of taking responsibility, trust me, everything changes. You stop viewing things the way you were. You will unlearn a lot of self-talk that you were having. You will start recognizing difficult patterns which have not served you in the past, will certainly not serve you in the present or in the future. And how to break free from those patterns then? Are you showing up with integrity? Are you showing up with authenticity? Are you truthful to yourself? Because sometimes the biggest lies that we are saying is to ourselves. If you're coming up with excuses instead of solutions, if you come up with why I couldn't do this, rather than telling us, I could have, I'm going to at least make some changes that can facilitate that, trust me, a lot is possible for us. So I will, of course, now invite Venu to take you through, how to go through that process of visualizing that space. And then my colleague Adita will take over, and I will see you guys again in a bit, right? Yes, Venu, over to you.
Yeah. You want to come in? So that's it. See, you must be wondering why Ekta is talking about your being, your thoughts, how it will affect in a session of trading, So we can connect whatever we are doing in our life, the same replica we are going to do in our trading. She said we have to be more responsible. It is necessary in trading also. Planning, strategy, responsibilities, what kind of a person you are, very critical. Okay. So when you start noting down what is happening in your mind and how that position made given money or not, all these factors are coming in. So we are taking out that factor and we are training you. That is the limiting factor and what is to be done. This is what the program. That is why the psychology is very important. Yeah, Venu.
Yeah, and thanks, Ekta. So I've just put one word here, which is vision. But we're not going to cover the details of it today. I have to touch upon the subject. The vision is basically what are you creating your objective inside of your commitment to be in this program for the next 3 months, which is 100 hours of work that we'll be doing with all the experts, the physical. So that objective is something that's going to help you keep bringing you back into the grounding aspect, which again is going to bring those actions from you, strategies that will help you bring the results that you're committed. And bringing yourself back to that objective and the vision is critical in the sense of creating that mastery for yourself. Okay, as she mentioned about Sachin, it's all about that practice that he kept on bringing forth into being that master. The whole program, as a team, we are focused on creating a mastery of you. Okay, and that's something that's possible inside of your surrendering. Okay, which is again the subject which will be there covered in our program. And so basically, the whole idea is to get you to that objective, which is something that gives you the repetitive actions, behavior that is critical for you to bring those repetitive actions, and you're breaking those, as Ekta mentioned about your believing limits that you got from your earlier life, early life, of early ages of life. And that's something that you're going to continue to break, because that kind of limits you bringing these bigger results from you. So there are going to be various exercises, follow-ups that we're going to do in this program to help you, get those muscles being built. It's like more of coming to gym, develop your muscles in the area of certain habits that you need to develop, which you have, but you haven't really worked on those habits over the years because of certain constraints or concerns that you have gone into. So taking them out of your system and bringing them and sharing them with us, it could be on the classroom of mind sessions, or it could even be a one-to-one session that you're going to have with us over the weeks, every week, and that's something that we would work out on. So that's the thing that I would want to say much about it. Now I request Ekta to share her inputs on this training that we're going to have as coaches. My coach.
Hi, Adita. Would you want to take speak about this?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah.
So being in the now, what is being in the now? As you must have experienced, most of you must have experienced when you're trading or when you're doing anything which is gonna, make or break your financial goals. You go through a lot of emotions, anxieties, confusions, all of this. There's nothing wrong with any of those. It's perfectly normal to have those. But being in the now is just getting aware that you are actually just, going through these emotions due to some, maybe these are stemming from some past experiences or some past decisions you might have made, and, they've stuck with you. But being in the now would be to be aware of all these emotions and then letting them pass, just letting them go, take acceptance of these emotions, because what is going to make you bring you results is going to be your actions and nobody else's. So whatever action you take in the moment is going to be the result that you get. So just getting aware of these emotions and letting them go would help you to look at, what is here right now in this moment, what decision I want to make, and whatever the result, I will be okay with it. So that would be, looking at the present moment and just being there instead of going in any past memories that you might have had of a certain similar experience, and then bringing that memory here, which doesn't even exist. So that is a very important factor, because you all are dealing with, everyday trades, right? Online, you're trading every day, and every day the scenario changes. Yesterday's scenario doesn't remain the same today. So how can yesterday's decision be made today? So I think that presence is very important when you, trade. So that is one critical important thing. The other two things are speaking the truth and acknowledging breakdowns. Now, both these factors are very, very important in not just in trading, but any aspect of life. Speaking the truth. A lot of times we have our own, egos or self-conscious image that we have in front of others that we need to maintain, or in front of our own self. We think a certain way about ourselves, like I am this, I am that, and any thing that doesn't agree with that, we sometimes start lying to ourselves and to others to keep that facade up. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that facade, okay, like to get aware that, okay, this is not working, or this is working, or this is what I've done, this is what I've not done, this is where I failed, this is where, I could have done something else. These things are very important for any person to acknowledge, because a lot of times we associate failure as if something is wrong with us or our abilities, which is really far from the truth. It's got nothing to do with that. It is just acknowledging that this happened and I didn't do this, or I did this and this happened. And the moment you are aware of this, I think your path is very clear, because then there is no resistance to, these facades that you have. Once you accept that this is who I am and this is what I did, and you're not dominated by those aspects anymore. You're not fearful of those aspects anymore. So I think that really gives you a lot of power. It empowers you to take strong decisions based on the current moment. So I think that is very critical. And the third aspect that I would like to talk about is acknowledging breakdowns. Now, a lot of people do not want to talk about breakdowns at all. They think, "Nahi, sab acha chal raha hai. Everything is going very well. I'm doing okay. I'm fine. I'm growing. Everything is good." This is again, related to that image that either you want to hold in front of yourself or you want to keep that facade in front of others. But will that facade take you to your vision? I don't think so. Only if you acknowledge that, okay, something is working, something is not, or somewhere you failed. Okay, this is where I failed. I have failed, and accept that defeat. The moment you accept that defeat, you're not shy about it or you're not embarrassed about it anymore. And now you can actually see that as a starting point of what next, what you can do next. Okay, this is something I didn't do and I failed miserably. Now this is something I can do. Maybe I can do something else. You can start figuring out the next steps towards your vision, because there's a gap between what vision you've made for yourself, the goal that you've set for yourself, and where you are currently, right? So either you can live in that, oh, I still don't have this, and I failed, and then you give up and go away, or you just acknowledge that, okay, I attempted this, I failed, and this didn't work out. And then what next? I still have to reach here, right? So what next? What should I do next? Or what actions should I take next to bridge this gap? So I think acknowledging breakdowns really helps you to, start afresh with the same problem, but start afresh with a new vision, a new method, a new step, and move forward. I think these are very critical parts of every business, not just every business, even personal life, I think, to, be honest, to be truthful, and to accept what is. I think that is all. Over to you, Ekta.
Do you want to add anything, Venu, before I continue?
Nothing much.
All right. Okay. So now, since Atita has taken us to the path of a breakdown, right? We all know that breakdowns happen, and it can happen in a space where we are in denial. We don't even know whether we are, accepting what is actually happening with us. But yes, as we know, breakdowns can lead then to the most beautiful breakthroughs. And these breakthroughs can be created if we are aligned with what we need for our life. And actually recreating, from that space where we are more and more aware that, yes, the breakdown has happened, but how do we really get out of it? There's a very beautiful, example. It's like, if an animal, like even a cow, is grazing with a peg, it's in a certain area. The cow can only graze in that much area, right? Because that is the only thing that is holding her is that little peg, which is only that much area. If you let it graze freely everywhere, that cow can go everywhere and start, experiencing. Now, the thing is, sometimes, that peg is like our thought process. We believe that a breakdown is a bad thing or a loss is a bad thing. And with that understanding, we are only grazing in that much area which is available for us, not realizing, that if I explore and go out and see, maybe there is so much to learn from this, right? So the idea is, when you're only in that much space, chewing the chewed, what are you doing? You're not allowing yourself to make new perceptions of the world. You're not unlearning what you already know. Now the idea is, you can actually learn a new way of perceiving your wins, your losses, the way you see life. Are you giving yourself the permission to do that today? Really? We all have that opportunity right now to change, our old habits and come to this new space of seeing things differently. Are you really allowing yourself to do that? If you are, then what really flows is that, your breakdowns will not become breakdowns for you. They will become basically stepping stones where you lift yourself up and go to the next space. And what is it that is really holding you back? To be honest with you, fears. That's all that it is. If you go to see, for most of us, it is only our fears. For this, trust me, I have a brilliant example. I have to share this with you. So this is another client, a coaching client, very, very successful. So successful that he has zero time. I mean, even to make it for coaching, our coaching sessions have happened while he was driving from his office to his home. Literally, that was the only time he had. So he said, Ekta, this is the only time I have. So that is the time we are having his session because he's so super busy. And of course, everybody in the family complains. He actually had his secretary even schedule his time to have, a date with his wife, literally. Okay, I'm not even exaggerating. Now, what happens is, through the coaching sessions, we can see that these are fears, right? If I don't show up in my business every day, this will go wrong, that will go wrong. And we created a strategy. We said, okay, let's assume for a week that this is all happening. Okay, your worst fears are actually coming true. This is all happening. What will happen? And after literally he's saying, Ekta, for the first 3 days, I was very anxious. I was very nervous. But after that, I said, yeah, it's okay. I can deal with this. It's not so bad. And you know what? When you really start going beyond, your own set limitations, believing that, if this will all go wrong. No, nothing will. If you're able to do that without attachment to all the results, trust me. So if you're going to constantly equate your self-worth, your identity only with the results that you're getting, then you are setting up yourself for disaster. But if you can go beyond the vision or, the limited vision that you have, created a broader, inspired vision, create that board where, it's all possible for you. You can really start stretching yourself out of a lot of self-imposed limitations. You can actually start creating the life that you really want for yourself. So when you want to go beyond limitations, you have to somewhere start getting detached from the results every single time. Because what happens is you're going to build up momentum through a lot of focused action. It won't always be, impulsive. It won't always be a sense of euphoria just because, you hit a 6 on some days or you got out on a duck on other days. No, it's going to be strategic with a lot of skills, with a lot of understanding, a lot of core technical understanding of what needs to be done. And once you are there, you can sit back and really feel a lot of peace and joy. You will not feel that you are responsible for everything. Yes, you have taken responsible action, but the outcomes are not really in your hands. So you can start feeling a lot more detached, right? So without attachment, you can start enjoying your business in a much more better way. And yes, then you'll have to look at how can you keep this momentum going, because once you take inspired actions, once you have a vision for your life, once you're showing up every single day, you have to keep momentum. You can't do it for 2 days and then get lax again and then say, oh, you know what, you have a weekend off is great, but a Monday should mean a Monday for you. So are you focused? Is there momentum in your business? Is something that you really need to ask yourself. Clearly then, emotional management becomes a very important tool. How are you managing emotions? I always say, emotions are two sides of the same coin, really. You could be feeling, joy, or you could feel extreme ecstasy, but how are you really in that space? Or on the other side is anxiety. It could be nervousness. Now, how are you really managing all these emotions that are showing up? And that's when you really get back again, to attachment. So are you really attaching all this to your self-worth? Does you doing well mean that you are good at it, or you not doing well mean you're bad at it? It's like, I have some clients who do brilliantly well. Within 3 months of working, they're like really doing very well. Maybe some are not, but that does not mean that does not make me good or bad as a coach. I don't attach my self-worth to the results that my clients get. Same way, are you attaching your self-worth based on the results that your stocks are having? You can't. If you're doing that, because the stocks will go up and down, but if you're going up and down with your stocks and your self-worth is attached to that, you are setting yourself up for some huge disaster emotionally. So you really need to take a step back and ask yourself that is this my self-worth, or is it a result of something that I do with strategic understanding and implementation of skills, which is what we all do, right? We all learn certain skills in the courses or the classes we do, the universities we attend, or the courses we take up, and then we try and implement all of that. But that does not mean that your self-worth should ever be attached to it. So emotional management will also, of course, then mean that if you're kind of looking at developing and implementing your skills, and then your trading strategy, which will of course be taught, you will really be able to take a step back and see, oh, you know what? These are the results that I get from what I've learned. This is the learning that you have done in schools, colleges, universities, degrees, courses, great. But that is not your self-identity. And that will really give you a lot of flow and ease in your life and business. You will really start enjoying this rather than creating a lot of pressure on yourself. Of course, that also means, that you can take responsibility for the choices. And that can be a big game changer. Trust me, when you can take radical responsibility, you can then take stock of the situation and say, you know what, great, that didn't work. Let's look at what works, rather than getting self-critical, rather than, letting the blame game get to you, where you're blaming the markets, the family, or something or the other, which is not allowed you to do what you want to do. You can start showing up that, you know what, Eka, this is why I didn't do this. I missed this because I didn't show up at the right time. Say it. It'll be much better for you rather than giving a long list of excuses that why it wasn't done. Because then it gives you an understanding at the core level that this is something that I need to work on. This is something that can change the results. Because if you want different results, trust me, the change lies in some habit, some situation that needs to be modified at a very core level. And if you are willing to do that, then trust me, a lot of things can change. Of course, also then coming to emotional management, we cannot discount the importance of self-talk. What are you telling yourself? Because the negative stories, the self-thoughts that are going on in our head all the time, you may not even be aware. A lot of times when I talk to people, they are saying things, and when I ask them to really listen to their own selves, they feel, oh yeah, that sounds quite negative actually. It's only when they are asked to reflect on what they are thinking, they realize that. So if your thoughts are constantly, in a space which is not supportive to growth, supportive to learning, you will realize that that self-talk is not allowing you to break free. Yes, there can be a lot of childhood conditioning. There can be a lot of social conditioning around all of that. It can also be colleagues at your workplace. Frankly, when we do one-on-one, it would be great to open up that where do you feel that, the self-talk is getting negative, where you're not able to lift yourself up and start believing that you are a star and see your own radiance rather than seeing, all the imperfections and the things you cannot do. So emotional management will firstly, of course, require to be aware, self-awareness, that where are my emotions? How are they showing up in my life? And then you'll be able to understand, that how do I manage them? How do I really come to a space where these emotions are not governing me, they're not controlling me, and where I'm able to better manage myself through these emotions. These are a few points for self-reflection. Totally, it's the point where you can grant yourself the right to grow. Are you allowing that space? See, the way things work is that if you want to grow in your life, say you want abundance, right? We all want abundance in our lives. You really have to let go of a few things. So are you granting yourself emotionally to create space for that? Now, say you are designing a house, for example, okay, and you want it to look beautiful. You really want it to look stunning. But if you're going to keep some, say you have seen a beautiful chandelier and the chandelier is shining, it's beautiful. But you're going to keep a lot of old furniture in that space, which is like 50 years old. That chandelier won't fit in. It just won't. Same way, if you're going to keep repeating, old mistakes, keep grinding over it, you're not granting yourself the right to grow, to learn. So to create space for new things, you will really have to eliminate a lot of old stuff, which is not serving you. So it's a question that you really need to answer, that what are the things that are not allowing me to grow? And what would that take? What does it take for me to remove all of that? So get into maybe your self-limiting thoughts or habits. If you know that, I should be doing something at a certain time, but I'm not doing it, that is certainly something which is not allowing you to get to the next level of your life. So what would that take? Maybe it will take me getting over some, thoughts that are not letting me believe I can do it. Maybe it's something that I need to change about my routine. Maybe it's something that I need to incorporate into my life. Are you giving yourself the permission to do all that? Because the reason why you're playing small, the reason why you're not able to do a lot of things is somewhere hidden in these stories, that are creating daily habits for you. How invested are you in this negative image of yourself? Because if you're very invested, each one of us has an inner critic. Let's be honest. As brave, as confident we want to look, we all have that inner critic which will constantly tell us this is not right, or you're not doing a good job. Are you invested in that? Because that inner critic is only letting you play small. That inner critic is only letting you know these are the boundaries. This is your only area to graze. Now, if you really want to get out of that negative self-image and show up as a confident person who backs himself, what will it again take? What are you willing to let go? What are you willing to throw out of the window? Really, if I had to ask you to do that today, what are you ready to do to get rid of this negative self-image? Do it. Whatever is stopping you, go out there, write that in your notes. I hope you are taking notes, because it would be great for you to introspect and journal about, how these 3 months are going to be for you. Even journaling is a great technique, to all of you. Start writing. I'm sure, your technical course will require you to keep notes. Look at, what your entry exit points are with trading. It would be a great idea to just see how you're growing as a person over the next 3 months. So if you can answer these questions, it would be great to really just start understanding, that how am I going to function in the trading world? Because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Truly, if you are, going to be skeptical, complacent, if you're going to be a procrastinator in your personal life, you're going to definitely be that in your professional life. There is just no way that you're going to be completely, there with your professional life, because at the core you're that. Yes, you have to do it because your boss wants it. You have to do that because, somebody has asked you to do it. Is a different story. At the core, you're still that. So if you're truly that, a procrastinator or a person who's highly skeptical, complacent, has poor self-belief, poor self-image, then that is how you're going to be functioning in the trading world as well. Any space you are showing up in. But by owning that mistake, definitely questioning why are you in that space, correcting, you can definitely move more and more closer to, mastering. And as I say, before you can master the trading game, master yourself. That can really create the miracles that you want in your life. So with that, I would open this up for questions. I hope you have lots of them, because this is such a topic which I think each person should be highly interested in. It's not just about, making money, which we all will and we all do, but it's also about developing yourself in a space where you show up energetically, you show up authentically, and you actually are in a space of a lot of joy and ease rather than a lot of hustle and, anxiety. So, of course, Venu, Adita, if there's anything you need to add, please do.
What you said about energy, I just want to say that, when you remove all these doubts and self-belief limits that you carry inside, what you feel is a good amount of positive energy that actually starts getting generated from within. It's not something that you have to look outside, because that clears your system. So clearing your inner system is very important thing that people practice. If there's something that happens physically for us, all of us, when we visit the washroom, like the physical cleaning of toxic stuff. But what's also important is the mental cleaning. That's something that there's no outlet for the mental cleaning unless you speak out or you actually share with your committed coach or a listener. So it's a beautiful opportunity for you to, all of you to get that we are committed to what you're speaking, not sitting here to judge and evaluate you, but more sitting with the intention of you getting the best of you.
Absolutely. And I believe that your space, like what you do, how you do it, is going to impact everything and anything you do in life. So if you work on that aspect of yourself, you can achieve anything.
Yeah, before anyone asking questions, see, I have something to share. Is there any alumni there now who are there participating? Any of those who has done Zen earlier?
Utkarsh was here. He's not here anymore.
Sanjeev or anyone is there? So I will tell you about what Ekta was telling, building momentum through focused action. Okay. This is what I was creating with the Union Bank dealer. He was Union Bank spot dealer. He used to make 10 to 15 lakhs rupees per day, intraday. And he was highly stressful. He was a brilliant dealer. Okay. But he's highly stressed out. I said, what is the need to be stressed out for an intraday trader? No need. If you are not stressed, then you can make 30 to 35 lakhs profit. Okay. Then there are, when I am speaking, I told you, you have to use some simple common sense approach. This trader has no approach, no planning, okay, and he knows where the level to sell, where the level to buy. He is a brilliant. Through technical tools or whatever he is using, he used to get the level perfect. He used to make decent money. But how to move from 10 to 15 to 25 to 35 lakhs? That was, for his immediate answer is more stressful. So I said, look, this is what you have done. Just compute what is the market move. We should also know that, see, again, we are common sense approach is there. Today, rupee moved 40 paisa. A super trader can catch 50 to 60% of that. That is 20 to 25 paisa. Second thing is that if you do 10 trades, if you win 4 to 5 trades, then again you are a master trader. If somebody says that I am winning 7 to 8 trades, he is telling a lie. Okay, he is not trading. He is just buying and selling, then he shows the profit. He is telling a simple lie. So what was missing in him? One was highly stressed. So we have taught him how to be stress free. Okay, trust me, that is what we made him. Then simple calculation. Look, you are taking 10 to $15 million position. Market moves 40 paisa. You are catching 20 to 22 paisa. Take the position, build the positions. If stops and loss done, stop, put it there in the system. When you are making money, also put the stop in the system. Simple logics we taught him. Okay. There are again Union Bank and another 3 dealers. Okay. See, Union Bank people, you can check with them. That is how he made. He moved. Okay. What he moved? There was common sense and stress-free trading. That made him very active. Okay. Simple. So you may be wondering what psychology, what is Venu telling, emptying and all. You will understand more because there will be group meeting, there will be one-to-one meeting. You understand more. See, I believe if you are attending these courses, I was wondering what is this we are talking in a training session. What entire business or Atita or Venu, none of the 3 people don't know trading. Okay, they are not traders. What are they going to make difference in trading? But the course says that I also believe, I was also a trader. So the course makes you, we believe here, the mind coaching is very, very important. I'm not demeaning technical things because technical things we are master traders and you will also gain lot. But the main thing what you will gain, the more money, big money comes. And we also say that we are also going to give training plan to all of you. Okay. And our promise is that whatever the fees paid, you will get it in 45 days. Okay, we have a plan to make. So the only thing that if you don't get the advantage of the psychology of behind trading, the mind coaching, and also physical fitness, if you listen to these coaches, the technical things, what in simple Rauser and Tyagarajan will not monitor closely. They will say that go and work out. That is also very important. So they will monitor. They will not monitor. These three people will closely monitor you. So you have to focus on them and trust them. This works. There is no downside for this. It definitely gives. That's why we say that 100% performance yours will be. Yeah. Questions? Ask any questions. It's nothing wrong in more questions, more interactions, and we will gain. If you're wondering why this is coming, ask that question also.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to time the market? Actually, when to enter, when to leave, there is a certain confusion. Whether our predetermined profit amount should be attained, or we should take a call at a reasonable period. What is that point?
This is what not mine. I said. Anand Narayan said. Anand Narayan was the treasurer of Stanchart. He was a professor. Okay. What he says is, okay. Suppose let us say you are long yesterday, dollar rupee. Okay. You trade in dollar rupee. What do you trade?
Sir, I'm trading dollar.
You trading in?
I'm trading in dollar.
Ah.
I have got a predetermined profit motive, profit percentage, but I think that is not getting attained in a day.
You are trading
And
dollar.
at the day end, I was thinking why I did not move out of that deal. Why I kept it for tomorrow.
Hold on. Are you trading dollar rupee?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You just give me your brief introduction, Anna. You work
Yes,
for
sir.
a bank. You work for a bank. Or
I'm
you are doing on your own.
I am trading for my company, dollar rupee.
Okay. You are trading for a dollar company. You are trading for a dollar rupee. Are you trading intraday?
Sometimes. Today I traded intraday. I did the good profit.
Okay. So your question is when to sell, when to buy, right?
Yeah. When to come out? Actually, sometimes the greed is so much, then the market goes away. Time attends.
See, when you have a plan, when you have a strategy, you will be greedless. Okay. This is what I told you when I am talking. These are all the weakness of a trader: greed, fear, not believing yourself. Okay. All these are negative factors. These negative factors we are coaching you to overcome. Okay. So another thing what I want to tell you, suppose you are long. Okay. You are long overnight dollar rupee. Let us say you are long at 74 rupee 90 paisa. Okay. Market today opens at 75.30. Okay. So if you have to treat this as a fresh trade. Okay. Every position, every minute it's a fresh. Question yourself, are you going to sell at 75.30? See what your mind says, 40 paisa milta hai, just do profit. Are you a seller or are you a buyer? Do you see the potential is going to 40? Okay. What is intraday range? Intraday range is it? Let us say today we gave a range of 75.20 to 75.55. This is the range. So market is at 35. So another 15 paisa is there. Evaluate it and put a order to sell and put a stop where see not that all our planning everything will succeed. Okay, you want to give away 5-6 paisa to the market, put a stop at 75.28 and 75.38 or 48 you give a take order. So every position you have to evaluate as a fresh position. That way it will. Then we will do money management and all will teach you. In especially for you, we have 5 or 6, 7 bankers are there. We will tell you about money management. We will tell you about overcoming greed and all. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vikram Kumar. My question is how to train subconscious mind to achieve life goals.
Subconscious mind. Ekta, will you answer that question?
So firstly, you will have to understand that what is happening in the subconscious. So you start by understanding your core beliefs. You start by understanding that what is playing out in those core beliefs. So it really goes back to your childhood. Okay. Now, identifying of core beliefs, if you want, we can have a session on that where we take you down the whole process of understanding those core beliefs and how you're compensating now to really prove those core beliefs to be right. Okay, for example, if your core belief is that I'm fat, just an example, that your core belief is I'm fat. Every time that you're told that, you will compensate, you will actually want to prove it right, because at the core you are already believing that, so you would want to constantly prove it. But firstly, you have to understand that what is playing out in your subconscious mind, what stories are already stored in there. We take you through a process where you understand what is there, and then what are you doing right now to prove that, every time. So a lot of times we see this dynamic playing out in families where a person will say, my parents have always had a favor towards my siblings, or my dad really likes my sister more. That's because you have really lived with that core belief since your childhood. You have always believed that you are not the favored one, and that core belief that I'm not the favored one is going to keep playing out in all areas of your life. So you will believe I'm not the favored one in my office, I'm not the favored one even when I'm taking decisions in my business, things don't go my way, because your core belief is that I'm not the favored one. So you really have to find out what your core beliefs are. And then that is where the subconscious mind is really there. We reauthor that, where you start reauthoring that process, rewriting, those stories, and now make a more powerful story for yourself, that this is what I wanted to be. I no longer want to be stuck in the stories which are not serving me. And then you can really get to a new vision of creating, the story that you want. So the subconscious mind is where a lot of these core beliefs are stored. And it would be great if that's first identified. You have to be aware of that before you can work to really break it down. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Anybody else has a question?
How many of you believe that the psychology and mind coaching or business coaching works? Anyone thinks that that will not work? Why we have to do it?
I have a question. Can I ask?
My question is, do you really believe that this mind coaching, psychology, business coaching will work for improving your trading performance?
Yes, definitely.
My question is, anyone don't believe in it? So if you're not believing it, then we can discuss why reason you are not believing it. And what are you going to do? So far what you have done on it? Anyone can answer? What is that you have done for your mind or your business coaching side? So which has helped you, so it will benefit others. That also you can share.
I practice Sudarshan Kriya, and
Okay.
it helps me keeping my mind cool and focused.
Yeah, you're right. So any meditations, vipassana, that will give your mind more stable, it's more calmness, more cool.
Yes.
Okay, it will give.
Yes,
If you
yes.
really do it in a way it is been taught, that gives. Similarly, morning walking and running, that gives that kind of peace. Yes, I've been told in my dealing room, when the day you run, you are more aggressive. Okay, that shows up. So it's all, third Dan will tell how mind will be more focused and more active and how the good results are giving. In his introductory class, he's going to take that. So Victor, can we, if there is no questions, can we move on? Okay. So now,
I have got a question, sir. Hello.
yeah, go ahead.
I have got an interest to read, so I keep Economic Times every day.
Yes.
I also bring good books. I am a chartered accountant. I get CA journals and all that. Though I have a passion to read and to know, but somehow I don't take out time to do that. In my bag, laptop bag, there are Economic Times for last 4 days lying, which are not opened up, even for a single minute. How to overcome that?
Whom do you choose the coach? Ekta or Atita or Venugopal? You can see their face and choose. So this chance is only for you, not for all.
Yeah.
Can I answer your question?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, I think how you can incorporate.
Aditya, hold on.
Yeah.
Let him choose a coach. Okay, then you answer the question.
Okay.
Vishwa, having asked the question, you have to choose the coach between three of them: Venu, Ekta, or Aditya. So you could recognize who is Ekta, who is Aditya, and who is Venu.
Yeah. I heard them today.
Yeah.
I think Ekta madam will be more appropriate.
All are appropriate. I give Ekta to you. Okay.
Yeah,
Now Aditya, you answer this question.
Yeah.
Right. So, firstly, what I would want to ask you is that.
Ekta, one second. Let Aditya answer this question.
Sure.
Yeah. No offense to others. Yeah.
No, none taken. Swa, I think first you need to identify all your interests, not just one. Okay, I mean, you mentioned one. I'm sure you might have others also. You need to identify all of them, make a list, and I think scheduling that into your day will really help you. Have those moments where you can focus on your hobbies as much as your job, your business. So I think that is a very important tool that you can use to bring in whatever your interests are. It could be reading, it could be dancing, or it could be learning a skill, anything. So if you're interested in any of those, I think it's very important. Firstly, you identify those for yourself. Right now, you're mentioning, I think this is my assumption again, that you're mentioning reading because it's in front of you. The book is in front of you and you're aware that, okay, this is there. But it's also a possibility that since childhood, you've had so many interests growing up. And then slowly, as you started getting into business, work mode, a lot of those interests start falling off, and now you don't even remember some of them. So I think firstly, sit with yourself and identify all those childhood dreams. Main ye banunga, main wo banunga. Then what happened? Did it really, change for you, or did it just fade off with time? So if you really identify that, then you can focus on creating, an appropriate schedule for yourself, how much you want to incorporate it in your daily life, and then work on that schedule. I think that would be an important tool to work on. I hope that answers some of it.
Actually, I am a working person, giving at least 10 hours to office, 2 hours to commuting office, workplace, and all that, other household works and all that. So for that's why I'm not able to get time. Hello.
That's again, just one of the reasons that you believe that is why you cannot make time. It's just a belief that, okay, I commute for 2 hours, I don't have time for this, I'm working. So I think that will continue. If you continue to believe that, then that will continue, that pattern of, behavior, that not reading the book, being in your bag for like two months and not opening a single page will continue. If you believe that, if you truly believe that this is why you cannot read. But you have to alter that. If you really want to read and if you really want to start reading, then I'm sure you will find that where you can incorporate it and how you can incorporate it. So that's something, the belief has to go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ekta, you are about, you wanted to say something?
Yes. Yeah, I'll just answer a bit. Yeah. So, so what I tell a lot of my clients is whenever time, I don't have time is a common thing, right? None of us have time. We all have too much to do. We have a list of priorities, but they take a backseat because we don't have time. The reality is we all have 24 hours in a day, be it Narendra Modi, be it Mukesh Ambani, be it you or me. We all have the same amount of time. So time can really not be an excuse to do what we really wish to do. Now, the first thing is this really a priority for you? If it is a priority, trust me, you will make the time. When it's not a priority for you is when, this takes a backseat. Also, Bishwa, what I'll really suggest, is that when you're given 24 hours in a day, you really should look at 10% of your day, really 10% of your day, which is 2.4, like approximately 2.5 hours, to dedicate to things that really bring you joy and happiness. So what really brings me joy and happiness? And do it sincerely. If reading it is, do it. If you cannot practically read a book audible, there is just no excuse today because Audible has all the book titles that anybody can want. Get to audiobooks. And so many of my clients, they don't get time. They're listening to books and they listen to books while they're on a walk. It serves both purposes. You can, of course, while commuting, it might hamper your eyesight, but if you can, why not read a bit while you're traveling if it's possible for you and not a big thing? So how are you really going to make sure that I will fit in this time? Of course, with physical fitness starting, you'll have to incorporate at least 30 to 40 minutes of some physical activity as well. So 2.5 hours per day, giving to whatever brings joy to your soul. It could be meditation, it could be dancing, it could be journaling, it could be sketching, it could be reading. It could be whatever you wish to. If it's important enough for you, you will find a way. If it's not, you will find an excuse. So ask yourself how important it is. Is it a priority for me? I'm sure you will find a solution. And if it's not, then everything. And you know what? If Monday to Friday you're working, you still have 8 days in a month. Saturdays and Sundays, which you can very well devote to reading books. Are you even doing that? Because most of the times I see people who say, I don't have time. They will not even end up reading on weekends because they have just given that excuse to themselves that I don't have time. When the truth is that if you really, really want to make time, you will. Read one page before you go to sleep. That can shift so much for you. Just start reading one page before you go to sleep if you genuinely don't have any time. And even that, I'm telling you, I've seen clients bring great breakthroughs. So now you need to decide how much time are you going to allot to it and are you committing to it? I really want you to tell me right now, firstly, what time are you creating and how are you committing to doing it when we talk next time?
Because for what of time we have to start the second session.
Right. Yes.
So how old you are?
I am 54.
Okay. So I started this transformation education at the age of 56. Okay.
Okay.
During this course, this training, it is not exactly training. I used to get up at 5 o'clock, go to Boril National Park, run and attend the program that used to go up to 11 o'clock, reach home by 12 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was my schedule for a year during the training. Okay. If you have to get this training, Ekta being your coach, she will tell what to do, you have to follow. Second thing about the tip about the newspaper. I get Financial Times London. Copy costs 136 rupees per day. So I have this thing, I took my colleague, I was also not reading. I am wasting 136 rupees. Not only that, without reading Financial Times London, I lose out on advising my client. That is my raw material. Okay. So I said, the day I don't read the newspaper, I'll give 100 rupees. Total loss will be 236 rupees. That improved. I don't want to lose 236 every day. So it increased considerably. Okay, it's 7 o'clock, we are closing the session. I have a party to go. I have half an hour, I will read FT and then go there. So it's a commitment. Why are you reading Economic Times? If you're not reading Economic Times, you will miss out a lot and you will make loss to the company. So that commitment should be there. Now it will become habit. So this is a tip. Thank you, Vishwa, for asking that question. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Yashwant Rao. Mr. Yashwant Rao started his career as a foreign exchange dealer and chief dealer at the Indian Overseas Bank. Then from there he moved on to his own business. He was doing his own business consulting for a year or two. From there he moved to Arvind Mill as head of treasury, general manager treasury. He was there over 15 years there. From there he moved to Reliance. In Reliance he was strategic consulting for commodities hedging and all. His strategists made lots of money to Reliance. That's what I know. And during this period, from Arvind Mill to maybe Indian Overseas Bank days, Rao was voracious reader. I think 1,500 plus books he must be having in his house. In his house itself is an office. He has a screen. He has got our office set up in the screen, the house from long years. So he has a passion. I have already told you that he writes his reports, research reports, and his reports are very valid. People pay money and buy it. We at Almas, he is on our board of advisory. He is a senior advisor to us. I also take his assistance to consult few clients, and he is a very passionate in technical analysis. He himself trades. I heard housewives trade just reading his reports and make decent money, 25 to 50,000 rupees. Okay, how to read Rao sir's report in 45 days? I am going to teach you people how to make till you are well versed with the technical analysis just by using Rao sir's report. How you can make money? This I will be interacting with you, sharing with you how to make money out of it. And Rao sir will talk basics, how these technical tools will help in taking a decision. Okay. See, otherwise we can't trade by tossing coin. Okay, it is not speculation. It is technical work. It's a powerful tool. Technical tools, fundamental tools connected with a person. See, all said and done, if technicals are working, we would have gone to lock and automatic trading could have been happened. No. As a human being, his behavioral, his decision making capacity, all that I started with in the morning. The session starting that the qualities of trader you need to have. So systems can't overtake trading. Systems can't trade. So, you and I are required. With this brief introduction, I would Rao sir will cover the basics of technical and fundamental analysis for trading, and maybe bit of Elliott. Rao sir says Elliott works everywhere, not necessarily for trading. Elliott chart you can connect your growth or your business growth also. Over to Rao sir.
Hello everyone. We are already a bit delayed as per our schedule. We have exceeded that. I would like to keep it brief because we are going to be in touch for the next 2 months. And even beyond that, there are people who have attended this course who are in touch for more than 2 years continuously. So it's going to be a lasting relationship. You can have access to us mean people who teach like Tyagarajan, Rajgopal and myself and Viju. So I'll try to complete in just 10 minutes time, not more than that. When I started trading, I was not knowing any. That was in 1980, October to be precise. There was no technical indicators, not even computers. But it was only fundamentals. I had to read a lot about international finance because I'm a foreign exchange trader. So like that, the results used to be inconsistent. Sometimes win, sometimes you cannot say 1 month will be plus, another will be minus, like that. So that was after that we came into somebody gave us a book, New Concepts in Technical Trading, written by Wells Wilder. Since there were no computers at that time, all those indicators we used to maintain by hand in a book called Black Book. We used to maintain everything there, ADX and DMI, all these things, RSI, all this. And we used to follow that. That used to give somewhat consistent results. So we were wondering how this is possible. Then people who were above us, they used to consider this as some kind of a black magic, or it is like numerology, or following all these things. But I could not believe that it's numerology because it's giving consistent results. It's something somewhat scientific. Then as the year grew, then computers came, then calculators have gone, Excel sheets have come, then coding has started. We have platforms to crunch enormous amount of data to optimize and backtest and such things. Now we are in a period where we compare fundamental analysis and technical analysis and then choose whichever our mind is inclined to. So similar situations arise, you may not be able to decide which is right. It's not a question of that. It is scientific. Price action precedes indicators. Indicators are generally lagging, technical indicators. Analysis of the price movement is more important. That is the plain price movement. So the training would emphasize more on the price analysis. As far as fundamentals are concerned, it is difficult. There is some difficulty in that because it's both sides of the same coin. For instance, if you talk about crude oil, you can get bullish view as well as bearish view. You may think there are no bears in crude oil. That itself is a bearish news. When everyone turns bullish, it's the topping area. That generally that is what happens. When everyone starts, even the man on the street also says the oil is going to 100, then that is the time when it is going to turn down. That's what happens most of the time. So they say in fundamental analysis, they say crude oil supply chain bottlenecks are there. Activists, environment activists, they are enforcing zero carbon initiatives and making companies invest less in exploration of crude, and rising demand in the post-pandemic scenario. When activists impose investment restrictions, investments get depleted in crude oil exploration. That gives rise to bullishness for crude oil. Similarly, when rising demand in post-pandemic scenario, then you do not have enough supply. That also will be a bullish factor. Then depleting oil wells due to disuse. Like you can stack reason after reason to paint a bullish picture. At the same time, there are analysts who argue that the supply disruption is only temporary phenomenon. It's not a permanent one. And shale units in US are going to take US output from the current sub 10 MBD, 10 million barrels, 10 million barrels per day production to 12.5 to 13 MBD in a short time. In this year itself, they are going to take it like that. Then who is going to absorb that much of supply? And Iran and US are nearing an agreement on the nuclear deal, and hence another 2.5 to 3.5 million MBD will be added to the world supply, making oil cheaper. Surface transport would gradually switch over to EVs in the near future, causing a lower demand for your gasoline. All these are oil negative factors. Now, assuming you are in a position where you have to hedge your risk in oil, what would you do? You are a refiner who must buy oil, whether it goes up or down. You have to. So what would you decide? Would you buy it here itself, or would you buy the oil to dip lower? Or if you buy it here itself, will you apply a stop when it goes lower? All these kind of doubts and things will arise if you depend only on fundamental. I can give many examples. Considering the time factor, I am just stopping it with one. So in this situation, we will use some amount of quantitative analysis. See, it is not, if you go out, there will be millions of traders who are using RSI, ADX, and stochastics, all these things. What advantage you are going to have over them? Whatever news I told you about oil is available to everyone in the market. So what advantage you have? That is the thing which we are attempting to teach you. The edge over others, the edge over other traders. Like it will use very simple structure-based techniques, price pattern techniques, and then use of Elliott wave. There is a thing called Elliott wave, which is the most complex and confusing study. Many people have given up because lack of understanding, because they are not able to understand that. They apply it wrongly and get wrong results, and they say it doesn't work. It's not that way. Most of the subjectivity means it is subjective. I see this as a wave 3. The other person may see, no, it's not wave 3, it's wave 5, it ended all. So this kind of subjectivity, what appears something to one person may not be the same for other person. That subjectivity can be removed very effectively by using certain methods. So all these things will be taught in this session. The goal will be, the final goal will be to arrive at a workable trading plan which will give you success. This has been used by the students in this session, and they have found a lot of success in this also. So among the participants, I do not know how many of you are working for some companies for hedging risk, or how many of you are independent traders. Are there anyone who is hedging oil, cotton, edible oil, or foreign exchange?
Foreign exchange, yes, sir. There are many, but I don't know about
Yeah.
all and all.
Okay.
We'll be talking to each of them, and I will give their profile. Anybody trading
Okay,
oil?
good.
Answer.
Good. Okay, I don't have anything more to say, because I have another 10 to 12 hour session. I'll keep on talking to you about devising a trading plan and how to execute it successfully, how to use logic. Logic is a very, very important subject for a trader. If you do not know logic, you are a failure. Logic is the most important. You should, like Ekta said, you should completely detach yourself, use the logical concepts you have arrived at, the inferences which you have made using major and minor premises or generalizations you have arrived at, use that without any attachment. You set your goals and then go according to the trade plan which we are going to give you. Tyagarajan and Rajagopal will also talk to you about Tyagarajan will talk a lot about fundamentals and also technicals, kind of hybrid. Rajagopal also will be similar. I'll be mostly focusing on the structure-based analysis, quantification, and system development, algorithms, and such things. So we'll see you. So we'll have a nice journey. Thank you. Over to
Thank
you.
you, sir. Any questions? So how many of you are seriously looking at chart and technical analysis you are doing? Nothing wrong in not doing, because it's very easy to teach people with pressure, because otherwise you have to unlearn so many things if you are not doing right way. Anyone focusing time on technical analysis?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'm Rao here.
Okay, Raja. So fine, that you will know that the way you are doing, how it is beneficial, what the way Tyagarajan, Rajagopal and Yashwant Rao teach, how it is beneficial. Okay. See, I am the person, I believe in technical analysis only a tool. Unless you have a very good strategy, very good planning, and very good objective what you want to make, so you will not last in trading. You will only lose. The only statistics says that 90% of the traders lose. 5% even out, only 5% will make, and only out of that 5%, 1 or 2%, they make living trading as a profession, and they don't have to work beyond 40 years or 45 years if they start at 25 years. Okay. Another thing is, as Rao said yesterday, for a trader like him, Tyagarajan, Rajagopal, we are all senior citizens, and Rao sir says there is no retirement. Retirement is only that. We can continue to trade, and we can continue to earn. This is another advantages of learning the trading. So,
I have a question
Yeah.
to Yashwantrao sir. You have been trading, as you sir has explained, for 20 plus years.
40.
40 plus years. Apologies.
Yeah.
So, in your experience, how accurate would you say you have been in your trading, in your performance to all the knowledge you have gained as compared to the market? Because markets are unpredictable, as you rightly said. How much how useful has this been, the technical analysis?
I can actually quantify that. Suppose if you take cotton, I can say I'm 65% of the time correct. If you take like that, it is not fuzzy stuff. It is a quantifiable stuff, and there are as we go into the future sessions, you will understand that there are certain type of blunt system which can deal with anything. It can trade in gold, it can trade in euro, it can trade in Japanese yen, it can trade in mentha oil, jeera, cotton, or sugar, like that. There, if I put that system in natural oil, it will be beaten blue and black. It will completely lose. I'll end up as a loser because of the higher amount of volatility. So it depends. Suppose you are, I see so many things. So, but when I was in Urban Mills, that is my second innings. First innings, I was a general manager of foreign exchange. Second innings, I was a cotton consultant. So in cotton, it was easier for me because I was focusing only on cotton. Only two cottons. One is ICE cotton, Intercontinental Exchange cotton. Another is domestic, MCX cotton. I was focusing only on two things and a few reports to read and to get the feel of fundamentals, how it is, and the weather report. These are the factors. So if my technicals and my fundamentals are in tandem, then I can say that I'll be more comfortable. But there are several types of running the what do you call back testing. Back testing is just you give certain condition and I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to tell you is, suppose I start with the year 2010. I run a system, 2010. Then 2010, it is in sample system. There is a sample available for 2010. Then whatever parameters I get, I apply it on 2011. That is OOS, out of the sample, how it performs. Then 2011, I run the system. I get a parameter. I run it on 2012, as though I do not know. It's out of the sample. It's a new year. On that data, I run on a set of data and apply it on an unknown data. Like that, this process known as walk forward. So by doing walk forward for 10 years, I do 20 tests, and then I arrive at certain parameters, which will give me 65% of win. So
trying to identify.
There is no one word. What is it?
You're trying to identify a pattern through backtesting.
Yeah, there is no one word answer for your question. It depends on commodity to commodity, currency to currency, like that. There are some tough currencies, tough commodities, which is difficult, like natural gas, short-term trading. It is like doing high-level cardiographic exercise just by sitting on your chair. You will get a heart attack seeing the moves. It will be so volatile. So it's not a one-word answer. So I have to give such a lengthy answer for this.
I have another quick question, just to add on to that. Just having read this article on in Financial Times today, and the volatility in the markets going forward, because of how ubiquitous algo trading and AI-based trading is going to come in, how useful do you think this kind of information, this technical analysis, analytical tools that we're going to
Yeah.
learn here,
Yeah.
how useful would it be for a retail trader like me, a beginner like me?
Yeah. That's what we are aiming at. What chance you have against those number crunching machines?
Yes.
So those days are over. So where do you stand in front of those? This will be specifically taught to you how to deal with this kind of situation. You will never have a choice if you read some books and learn some other methods of trading and all. You require extraordinary knowledge, special knowledge, edge. That's the most important thing. Edge means not 1 day edge, even 5 seconds, 10 seconds edge. For an example, I'll give you, suppose you trade on 30 minutes chart. You are an intraday trader. You make it 25 minutes chart, then you will get 5 minutes advanced information than the whole crowd sitting out there. You get the point? So these kind of tweaking in whatever is possible. So that way you can, suppose you are a weekly trader. Everyone waits for Friday for the week to end. You set your computer in such a way that your week ends on Thursday itself. Understand? So you get a point there. On Thursday itself, you will know what is going to happen next week. So you have an advantage over the other. This is what I call as an edge over the other participant. That takes you, that will give you an enormous advantage. So all these things we'll deal as we go, because that's lengthy subject. Now I said I'll finish in 10 minutes. I got only 1 minute now.
Okay, thank you, sir. We see it's our effort always to start the course on time and conclude the course on time. That is what Rao sir believes in. All Rao sir sessions he will close on time. Tyagarajan, when Rajgopal also we close on the time. Tyagarajan sir, you have to excuse because and people love it. He goes on, and if his health permits, one session he has taken 3.5 hours, and people loved it. But that is all. We leave it to you. We'll give you a comfort. So I will conclude this session. All of you registered. You have my number. If you don't have my number, please note down. My mobile is 98200 37493. You can talk to me tomorrow between 10 to 2 so that we can finalize your trading plan tomorrow itself. So that Monday, those of you who are trading, you can use this from Monday. And when the time the next class starts, that is Friday. So I would like all the people who have signed to have their trading plan in place. Those of you who are not signed, who have come here to test whether this works or not. So my request is don't set on pens. Call me back today only and confirm registration. We have limited seats. We are not going to have more than 20 in this batch. With this, thank you once again to all the faculties, all the participants, and it is 7:01 and we are concluding. Thank you.